What's up everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Khamzat Chimaev reacts to UFC 300 rumors. After no UFC 300 announcement during the Super Bowl, fans were left to speculate as to when the promotion would finally unveil the headliner for the historic card. During Monday's installment of the MMA Hour, Ariel Helwani shed light on the latest UFC 300 rumors. As he explained, the UFC wants to book Leon Edwards and Khamzat Chimaev for the headliner. However, visa issues are impacting the potential fight.
I think if the UFC had their way, if they can snap their fingers and make the biggest fight in their mind happen, and the fight that they've been working on happen, and have their say as to what is the main event for UFC 300, I think that they would make Leon Edwards versus Khamzat Chimaev. I believe, based on my conversations, that when Dana White is talking about, the hurdles and the issues and the different things at play in terms of making this fight and how troublesome it has been, I believe that's securing Khamzat's ability to fight in the United States.
As Helwani also indicated, if the Edwards fight is unavailable but Chimaev can fight in Vegas, the UFC could also explore the possibility of a middleweight title fight between Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev. After the news circulated around the MMA community, Chimaev reacted to the situation on Instagram after a fan referenced the rumor. In response, Chimaev simply wrote, "Not fighting in Ramadan." Although something could change, it sounds as though, given his latest statement, Chimaev is likely out for the historic card. Next up, let's take a look at Garry reveals shocking news. Conor McGregor has continued to indicate that he plans to fight Michael Chandler in June, regardless of Dana White recently shifting talk of the fight to the fall. Despite the fact that the Irish star has continued to target June, Ariel Helwani has theorized that the UFC is intentionally putting McGregor on ice to make sure he doesn't fight out the remaining 2 bouts on his contract. Ahead of his upcoming UFC 298 fight with Jeff Neal this weekend, undefeated contender Garry has revealed that, if possible, he would like to co-main event the June card McGregor and Chandler may headline. While speaking in a video for UFC on TNT, Garry teased an opponent for the fight.
Unless Conor's on that card and I get to share a card with Conor, I have other plans. All I know now is that we've got February, and the only rumor we hear is from the big man himself saying that he'd like to fight June 29th in International Fight Week. Now, fingers crossed that gets made, because if that gets made, I have a perfect co-main, and I think you guys can guess who it might be. He's a bit of a clown, if you want any hints.
The comments have left fans assuming that there are 2 matchups Garry could be targeting, either a welterweight fight with Colby Covington or a clash with former middleweight champion Sean Strickland, both of whom the future has some beef with. Next up, let's take a look at Tom Aspinall breaks silence on UFC 300. As Dana White recently indicated, there are 2 more fights left to add to the historic UFC 300 card. While fans have continued to hold out hope that interim heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall could wind up competing on the event, that doesn't appear to be the case. During a recent appearance on the MMA Hour, Aspinall broke his silence on the situation, indicating that there haven't been any serious discussions about Alex Pereira moving up to heavyweight. In addition, as he previously indicated, the UFC offered him a fight with Stipe Miocic. However, the former heavyweight champ wasn't interested in the bout.
As I said, I see myself as the number one. The number one is the king, and if somebody challenges the king's throne, it will be defended.
Okay.
I will defend my throne. Ideally, right now, I have 1 loss in the UFC. That's where I'm at right now. I don't know how many wins, but I got 1 loss where I took an injury in the fight against Curtis Blades. If I could get that fight back in my next fight, I know Curtis has got a big fight coming up with Almeida.
Yeah.
If he comes through that fight, I would love to avenge that loss.
With the UFC reportedly set to head to Manchester this summer, a fight between the winner of the upcoming Blades vs. Almeida fight could make for a perfect opponent for the interim champ. Next, let's take a look at UFC rejects Sean Strickland's $1 million fight offer. Following footage emerging of Sean Strickland and content creator Sneeko sparring at the UFC PI, the former champ found himself on the receiving end of a call-out from YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul, who offered to fly Strickland out to Puerto Rico for a $1 million fight. According to Strickland, who spoke in a video for his YouTube channel, he asked Hunter Campbell if he could accept Paul's offer and was told by the exec that Paul doesn't draw any viewers.
I will fight this man. You let Conor McGregor fight Mayweather. This is an easier fight, easier money. Can I do that? And then Hunter explained to me, Hunter is like the left hand or right hand of Dana. They're equal. I don't know what they would be, but they're damn close. And Hunter explained to me that he sells no fights. That when they have fights, they give away tickets, that he doesn't make money, that his target audience is children, they don't buy pay-per-views. So, a little depressing.
Rather than taking Paul up on an offer to box for money, Strickland countered the influencer's offer with one of his own. The former middleweight champ told the YouTuber that if he were willing to fly to Vegas, then the two can throw down for free. Whether or not Paul accepts the offer remains to be seen. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at Michael Chandler and Dillion Danis go back and forth. Leading up to Sunday's Super Bowl clash between the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs, Dillion Danis took to social media offering to give one person $5,000 if the 49ers emerged victorious. He wrote, "If San Francisco 49ers beats Kansas City Chiefs, I'll give one person who likes this tweet $5,000. Must be following to win." A Twitter community note was attached to the tweet indicating that Danis has repeatedly made such claims in the past and has never paid up. In response, Michael Chandler wrote, "Fact checkers get it right on this one." Danis then responded, posting a photo of Chandler with his family, writing, "Fact check, you've abused steroids your whole life, so you can't conceive a child on your own, leading you to adopt." One member of the MMA community agreed with Danis, writing, "I'm glad someone said it. This is my theory as well." Another took aim at Danis, writing, "Damn, you really are a gutless coward. So glad UFC won't do business with you and that you're being sued into oblivion by Nina. We'll all watch them take your money as you fade off into irrelevance." One combat sports fan cracked a joke about Danis' bout with Logan Paul last year, writing, "Fact check, Dillion Danis is the only man ever to have a boxing match and attempt more takedowns than punches thrown." One fan attempted to take aim at Danis for bringing family into things, writing, "Imagine scooping as low as bringing kids into things." Another agreed, adding, "Disgusting thing to say." Another member of the MMA community also agreed that Danis went too far, writing, "Yikes, that's spicy. But hey, family is family, no matter how it's made. Don't you think? Adoption or not, love is what makes a home." So far, no response yet from Chandler. Next, let's take a look at Sean O'Malley reacts to Henry Cejudo footage. Leading up to UFC 298, former champ Henry Cejudo fired his longtime coach Eric Albarracin on camera during the filming for Countdown to UFC 298. The moment caught many members of the MMA community off guard for more than one reason. In addition to the fact that the pair have been working together since Cejudo's last Olympic trials, many were in disbelief at the decision to have the difficult conversation on camera. During a recent episode of the Timbo Sugar Show, bantamweight champion Sugar Sean O'Malley shared his reaction to the footage.
That's impressive. He went and sat down with them. I would have said, "Hey, Emron, will you tell Tim it's not working out?" No, I'm kidding. But
on the countdown too, like
I know that was kind of weird.
Said it in private.
That the being on camera doing that's weird. God, remember when he was just because when he was double champ, he just thought he was the smartest combat god, and Connor making fun of him.
Heading into the title eliminator, Cejudo sits as a slight underdog on DraftKings with plus 164 odds, while his opponent Merab the Machine Divashvili sits as a favorite with negative 198 odds. After parting ways with his longtime coach, it'll be interesting to see if the move pays off for Triple C.
We have Henry Cejudo's coach here with us, and now he's gonna teach how to beat Henry Cejudo. Never. We have a new coach. Thank you, Henry. Goodbye, Henry. He's my coach now. My coach.
Next, let's take a look at Chael Sonnen furious with Dustin Poirier betting odds. The UFC 299 clash between Dustin Poirier and Benoit Saint-Denis will see the streaking lightweight contender face the toughest test of his career when he competes against the former interim champion. With the fight rapidly approaching in March, Poirier continues to sit as a betting underdog. On DraftKings, Saint-Denis has a negative 135 odds as a favorite, while Poirier sits as a plus 114 underdog. The way former title challenger Chael Sonnen sees things, there's no reason for Poirier to be sitting as a betting underdog. He spoke in a video for his YouTube channel.
And don't forget, Poirier's an underdog, which is a colossal mistake. There is no justification for whoever set that line. They had better sit there, pucker up, crossing their fingers that they get that one right, because there is nothing by the numbers that they can point to justify telling DraftKings, my partner, that they should put more money opposite Poirier than for him. There is nothing by the numbers, just so you understand this. This is 100% predicated on perception that one just got his hand raised at Madison Square Garden and one just got upset in Salt Lake City.
Many members of the MMA community agree with Sonnen, believing that Poirier's experience and gas tank will prove to be a difference maker over 5 rounds. With St. Denis on a 5-fight win streak, the bout could see the next era of 155-pounders take center stage depending on how things play out. UFC fighter gets arrested for a felony battery charge. UFC middleweight Cedric Dumas was booked into jail at 6 a.m. this morning for causing a disturbance, but also received a misdemeanor and felony assault charges. He's currently being held without bond. The MMA community had this to say about the arrest. Oh wow, the guy who picked up a misdemeanor charge for beating his girlfriend has now picked up a felony battery charge. If I was booked against Nursultan Ruziboev, I would personally not try to do this. That's just me though. Dana loving this. Extra promo for the dude. Held with no bond and court date not until early March is crazy. I knew something seemed off with this guy. Israel Adesanya accepts a UFC 300 fight after his coach came out in an interview and said that Izzy is back training and ready for an opponent and date. Here's what his coach had to say.
Yeah, look, we're training just in case there's an eventuality of a fight. So we're getting him fit, and yeah, he's getting ready to take up a potential date should once one come up soon. He's basically finished his little hiatus, and he's ready to come back. So just give us a date, give us an opponent, and we'll show up, ready to go.
Top comments. The way Henry fired his coach was a little disgusting to me, not gonna lie. Jorge Masvidal is going for that Steven Seagal look. I understand why Henry would fire his coach, but I don't understand why he did it on TV. It's probably staged for clicks and cringe. Jorge Garlic Bread Masvidal. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.